Welcome to Austin, Texas. We are here at Circuit of the Americas for round 5 of the Americas Rallycross Championship. Behind me, you can see some clear skies, but what you can't see to the left of me are some very dark clouds, which is going to make for a very challenging race for these drivers. If you haven't been following along, we have some news for you. Scott Speed will not be racing this weekend. In turn, he's being replaced with Andreas Backerud. In addition, Yoni Wheatman, both world-class drivers. So we'll have to see how they fare out here. But if you missed round 4 of Canada ARX, here's a look back.
The ARX paddock took the short trip north to Trois-Rivières, Canada for round 4 of the championship. And just when the Andretti VWs needed to show their mettle, they duly stepped up, and big time. Semi-final 1 and Cabot Bigham, starting from the back of the grid, got a rocket start that saw him head into turn 1 neck and neck with Chris Atkinson. He held his nerve on the outside, and when Patrick Sandell got it all wrong heading into the tight turn 2, Bigham didn't need an invite. The lead was his. Smart strategy on lap 2 saw Bigham take the early joker to cover off Sandell, and as the laps ticked down, the Andretti Rallycross man kept one Subaru at bay and the other within striking distance. Atco's final lap joker let Bigham through to take the win and a front row start for the final. If Semi 1 was won on the first lap, then Semi 2 was lost on the very last. Scott Speed looked to be on course for a lights to flag victory, but with just a few corners to go, the championship leader developed a problem. The Fiesta of Steve Arpin and Tanner Faust in the Beetle flew right by on the home straight, leaving a backfiring Speed with a race against time to make the final. He made it, but would start from the back row of a 7-car grid. Arpin got the best getaway, but outbraked himself at the end of the straight. Faust held on for dear life, and teammate Bigham followed him through to lead the field. It got worse for Subaru. In an action-packed second lap, first Atco got passed by Arpin, and then Sandell got tagged by Picoy in the second Fiesta. Up ahead, Speed drove the wheels off the WRX STI in an attempt to reel in the VWs, but come his final lap joker, he had no answer to the two Beetles. Faust took the win to head up a 1-2 for Andretti Rallycross and become the 4th different ARX winner in 4 rounds. In the race for the title, that win for Faust saw him close the gap on Scott Speed to just 5 points to set up an epic final 2 rounds of the championship. But that is a fight we won't see, certainly not this season.
I'm here with Andreas Backerud, one of the newcomers to America's Rallycross, like I mentioned earlier. You and I were just talking, I was saying, what's some of the challenging things about being out here? And the first thing you mentioned was the heat.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I like to be called the newcomer because that feels young again, you know. In the world, I'm one of the most experienced drivers, so being the newcomer, that's good. No, it is really, really warm, moist. It's been wet today, but it's still warm, so it's very humid. Sitting inside the car, it's really, really warm. So I'm happy we have a couple of extra sets of underwear and suits, yeah. Out from the car very quickly. Rallycross is a short format, so it's not too bad.
Great. Well, thank you, Andreas. Good luck this weekend. And now we're going to send you up to Andrew and Bucky, as ever, our favorite commentators.
Thanks, James, our favourite presenter down here. Apologies, we've got a couple of tech issues with the camera there. I think it might be some of the thunderstorms that are lurking around in the background. Yeah. Bucky, super hot, beautiful blue skies. You've been out here for a few days, and then this morning, race day, we were driving through rain coming to the track.
Yeah, it didn't rain the whole time I was here, and then today it sprinkled a little bit, and there's some storms surrounding us right now that look like they're going to be an issue.
Yeah, so conditions could change really quickly. Now, we've got, it's a fast and furious day. Remember, this is a single-day event, so 3 qualifying sessions for ARX and ARX2. It's literally like one session, 20 minutes off, one session, 20, and it goes on like that all day. Big pressure on the teams and the drivers.
It is. There's not much time to make these changes. They're going to have to deal with a wet track, I feel, in a matter of probably 30 minutes, and it's on from there.
Well, you better join us for Q2 for that and see whether or not Bucky Lasek is a great weather presenter or just having a guess. Let's take a look at the track. I'm sure you guys are familiar with it. Of course, we came here twice last year with America's Rallycross. We've been here with the World Rallycross Championship as well. 881 yards for the standard lap, 1,087 for the joker lap, 60% asphalt, 40% gravel. Direction of travel is clockwise. It's short, it's sharp, it's pretty furious. We're going to ride on board with Cabot Bigham and take a look around the circuit. Here we go. So that's coming out through the last corner and then into turn 1, Bucky, which is pretty tight.
Turn 1, normal line. Joker goes on the outside there. Now he's coming up on this hairpin where he's got to slow the car down, use a little bit of handbrake, open up the diffs, get the car rotated, and now onto the jump. Car's looking good over the jump, and then we enter another hairpin onto the back straight.
So Cabot Bigham through that hairpin, gets the power down. They'll now use all the runoff on the left-hand side of the road, right the way out towards the gravel trap. Going to swing the car in towards the right, and this next section is very, very narrow. So keeping the car straight, pulls a gear, thread the eye of the needle, and then over the start-finish line. So as you can see, it's big commitment through, particularly that last section if you want to get the lap time absolutely bang on. Mistakes here are going to cost you because the lap is so short.
Yeah, it is. The cars are fast. They're high-strung. It's a small course. They got to keep the power down.
So, ARX supercar you've just seen going around the track. As always, we've got the ARX 2 guys here. Remember, they've had double headers at most of the events this year. This time, of course, they're just doing one event as well. Fraser McConnell leads that championship. We're going to see them racing before the supercars get out. So we're going to take a look at the championship standings, show you where we're at with 3 rounds to go for these guys. So, of course, they've got 1 round here at COTA, and then they've got 2 rounds down at Mid-Ohio. So they've got 90 points up for grabs. So there's still a huge amount on the table here. We've got 9 cars in terms of the entry. You can see Fraser McConnell is on 141 points. He's got a 21-point lead over Cole Keats. Conor Martell in 3rd, having missed a couple of rounds as well. So those 3 are our hot guys. Alex Keys as well, of course, has been quick. And Alex missed the last event, having rolled. I think he rolled at St. Louis, didn't he?
Yeah.
And they repaired the car. He missed Canada, and Alex is back this weekend. So, yeah, fantastic. Great stuff. So stay with us. Coming up next, we've got the early races for ARX2. They're Q1. You can see some cars on track. The weather in that direction looks pretty okay. It's behind that camera where we can actually see the rain falling. So up away, I guess, behind turn 1 of the F1 circuit, isn't it, at the top of the hill? So I reckon this session will be dry. Bucky thinks it's going to rain before the next one. He could well be right. There's actually a couple of damp patches on the track, so mixed grip levels. And yesterday when the drivers had their draw, some of them were choosing to go in the second race because they felt the track would develop, that it would clean. In this first encounter then, Cole Keats, Conor Martell, Alex Keys and Fraser McConnell. So from that you can gather that Keats and Martell got a nice early draw, and McConnell, the championship leader, was late. And in fact it was Alex Keys who's slot 3 on this grid who pointed out to me yesterday, all the guys here have been here before and all the guys in the second race have not. So
yeah.
the way, completely random draw, and they got to choose whether they went Bucky, and I think these guys kind of chose to go with each other because they know that they know these guys are the hot shoes. Here we go. Great start, McConnell on the outside, maybe a little clutch kick. I don't think he's going to be able to get into turn 1 first. So is anyone going to go Joker with him? And they do. I wondered if that might happen. So it's kind of the smart tactic. If you're not going to get the whole shot, you might as well push everybody else out wide. Fraz is going to try and go right round the outside, and he's done brilliantly to get up to P2
he hung
there.
in there. Oh. He wasn't in the best position, but Conor Martell goes on the inside, pushes Fraser outside, which opens up the door for Keys.
Keys alongside Martell. Martell with contact into Keys. Keys is going to get spun as he lights the throttle up and gets away. Now, the worst thing about this, Bucky, is qualifying is down to time, and at the minute, they're losing it.
It is. They're racing right now. They can't get it out of their minds.
Yeah, pushing a little bit too hard, definitely. So
I believe these were the fastest guys in practice today as well.
All these 3, of course, having jokered already, and now indeed Keats goes Joker, and Cole Keats comes out easily in front. Well, easily, a car length in front. For me, that's if it wasn't for all that contact, they might still have a chance of overlapping him.
Yeah, he got tied up there on the hair turn and kind of backed everyone up.
It is super hot here, like 30 degrees. It's been 35 centigrade. What's that, Bucky, in Fahrenheit? It's up to 100, isn't it? Into the hundreds, just about.
We'll say yeah.
Okay, we're saying yes.
We'll go with it.
Bucky Lasek, pro weather forecaster, as we say. Keys is all over the back of Keats here. Good to see Alex Keys back, having missed an event and really pushing hard.
I think we're going to see a move right here. You see how he's hanging on the outside? He wants to go outside, inside here, but Keats
giving him a nudge.
Leave it open. Nope.
He's giving him a nudge. So the jump's been reprofiled. The up ramp's a bit steeper, the down ramp is a bit smoother. Keys is looking really fast to me, but he can't find a way through.
No, and it's hurting him on times.
So Alex Keys, who got nudged super sideways, was up the inside of Martel and got a little nudge into that hairpin. Oh, Keys is sending it through that narrow section, keeps it out of the wall just about. So Alex Keys pushing really hard. Cole Keats runs the car out wide this time. If he doesn't leave the door open, of course, this is where we saw Christopherson pass on. He gives him a nudge. He's going for the pass, so he's pushed him wide. Keys is going to try and get him on the run down to the hairpin.
Watch Martel, watch Martel.
Martel's going to pick up a place here if Keys isn't careful. So Alex Keys is out wide. Martel is up underneath him. Martel goes sideways. Great racing, but hurting the times, Bucky. But then these guys are the fast guys. I think probably the guys in the second heat are going to have to work hard to beat their times anyway.
They're still going to work. They're going to have to work extra hard because these guys have been here before.
Keats takes it from Keys. Oh, and Martel. So our graphics are showing. Our graphics are showing finish, but potentially not. Okay, well, we'll carry on and see whether we're right or whether they've done 4, we think.
Frey's made up a position on Martel.
They have done 4 laps and they haven't put the flag out, so this is interesting. We've not had this happen before, so the flag marshal has not put the checker flag out. For me, Bucky, as well, Martel has lost a position to McConnell.
I know, in that call, yeah.
In that extra lap, so I think they're going to have to. They're going to have to have a look at this with the stewards after the race. So we've done 5 laps in this race. 5 laps, not 4. Someone's made a mistake. Well, it's whether they call the result at the end of the 4, which I'm guessing they'll have to.
They should.
So an early potential mistake from the flag marshal there. Let's take a look at the result. This is the result as we saw it at the end of lap 4. So Cole Keats, Alex Keys, Connor Martel and Fraser McConnell. So Fraser McConnell made it up to 3rd on lap 5, but correct. Bucky, you know, the race distance is 4 laps. So, you know, I'm guessing the stewards are going to go with the 4 lap. There was no controversy. You might as well call it. So this was just off the start line. Well, they've gone slightly back to the start line there. McConnell with a good start, but on his inside, because it was interesting. Martel, I wonder if Martel would have gone standard lap if he thought he could get Keats, but because he can't, he might as well push everyone else wide.
Yeah, it was a smart decision there.
Yeah. See, it's hard to recover from a bad draw here. Here's Martel getting up the inside of Fraz. Fraz runs deep here. Then Keys, look how, on that tight line, the traction that Keys got on the exit here.
Yeah, look, they almost have a blue groove better on the inside there already than getting on the fluff on the outside. I mean, when you're handbraking and you're roostering, you're gravel machine gunning that outside line with all those pebbles and rocks, that's not where you want to be.
You can still see the water too, can't you, on the tarmac? I reckon this track could develop a bit, you know, Bucky, today. I think if we hadn't seen the rain, maybe not. We're starting to see a tiny bit of blue groove on the clay in the section across the last part of the lap. But yeah, these guys did an extra lap, and they're calling it at 4.
Cole, as usual in Rallycross, a lot of chaos, a lot of touching out there, and a little bit of confusion. Tell us a little bit about what happened on the first lap and what happened throughout the rest of the race.
Yeah, I don't know who all took the Joker, honestly. I just saw like Connor and everybody, I think, but we got a good start, came out with the lead, and then Troy and I just countered my spotter. And we countered it, and then we just had to protect the bottom. I mean, it's tough to pass here, and we knew that. So we couldn't run the exact lap times that we wanted to, but the car's way better now. We had a little mishap in the rain earlier in practice, but yeah, it's kind of weird. I felt like I did 5 laps out there, but I mean, it's all fun. Big thanks to Driver Reinbold for giving me a great car, and that's one. We got 5 more to go.
Great. Good luck the rest of the day, Cole.
So Cole Keats happy with the win in that one. So we had quite an unusual start to the day. No one was expecting 5 laps there.
I love racing, so give me more laps.
You'll take an extra lap every time. Bucky Lasek, we can't wait to get him back out in a car. We will do it at some point, I promise. I love having him in the commentary box, but he wants to get Sendy.
Yeah. I've been having fun, though.
You have, yeah. You've been doing some sending, haven't you?
I'm not rusty, put it that way.
No, yeah, he couldn't do any fishing this week, but he's ended up doing some sending instead. You'll have to check his social media. Right, here we go then. Here's the grid for race 2, Q1, ARX2. On the inside, Michael Leach. Then it's Brad DeBerti, Sage Karam, Gray Ledbetter, and Lane Vakela. So De Berti and Karam, particularly Karam, if he's got the same pace he had at the start of the year, he could definitely challenge those times from the previous run. Got to get a good start, though, to get that done. Marshall gives them the all clear, points them to the lights. Oh, bad start by Sage Karam, drops back straight away. Brad De Berti holding on. Michael Leach going to get the whole shot, and 4 cars into the Joker, Bucky. That's a disaster for the guys in the back lane. Vakayla going to get underneath Gray Ledbetter, but Gray's going to have the inside line into the hairpin. Bit of contact between them. Sage Karam going deep, trying to get around Brad De Berti, but he puts a wheel in the water, and he's going to struggle now on the exit. So Ledbetter's got that inside line, but he's going to go nice and late on the brakes, and Sage Karam going to hold on to P3. Karam was so good, wasn't he, earlier this year? It was his Rallycross debut back at Mid-Ohio.
Right, yeah, it was beautiful. It was great driving, and now you can just see the seat time is paying off.
He got stuck in, didn't he, with Fraz? Him and Fraz had quite a serious little ding-dong, and I kind of... Obviously, Fraz has got the championship to focus on. De Berti gives the car a big chuck into turn 1, and you can see the difference. Sage Karam keeps it tidy. Into the Joker lap went Michael Leach, but he loses 2 places, and that gives you an idea, I think, of how quick De Berti and Karam are. De Berti's done well.
Very clean racing.
Karam's going to get him. Here is he. De Berti's on the inside. He's late, and he's on that dirty piece of track.
Wow, that is amazing driving right there by Sage.
Sage Karam taking the lead around the outside of the hairpin, super tidy, under pressure, and with a bit of contact. Now we're going to see whether or not he's got...
Oh boy, he hung it out there
he did.
Too much.
So we've had some contact reviewed in the first run, but that's been reviewed and they say no action. So De Berti leading from Karam. I wonder if Karam's got has Karam got some sort of issue, Bucky, or do you think he just made a mistake in the long right-hander?
I think he was probably celebrating on how good he was driving and went a little too deep.
Oh, and he does it again.
Oh,
and De Berti, in fact, was pretty late on the brakes there too. So a couple of mistakes from these front runners. Karam now 1.5 seconds off the back of De Berti. Ledbetter 3.9 further back. I met Gray Ledbetter's dad yesterday. And yeah, he's super proud of his daughter, and rightly so. He was just saying how much she loves motorsport. She just is constantly watching motorsport, talking about motorsport. She got her first experience of Rallycross here at X Games a few years back. And she met Patrick Sandell in one of the drivers' areas and was like, you know, oh, what do you know about Rallycross? And Patrick, being the lovely guy that he is, just said, oh, I know a little bit. What would you like to know? You know, didn't kind of reveal who he was at first.
Right.
And then he looked after her, basically invited her out to Sweden to come and have some tuition out on the frozen lake. So,
that's
how,
awesome.
How cool is Patrick? Yeah, and B, brilliant for Ledbetter.
He's a keen guy.
Checker flags out, De Berti takes it, Sage Karam gets P2, here comes Gray Ledbetter. She gets third. And then Michael Leach and Lane Vakayla. So we don't have a finish time up on our screens for the previous race. That's because they say they forgot to checker it. So we'll get our graphics up to tell you who's won the session. Either going to be De Berti or Cole Keats, depending on which of the two of these was fastest. De Berti takes this one, race 2, from Sage Karam, Ledbetter, Leach and Vakayla. And then here is where they slot in, and indeed this race is faster. So De Berti and Sage Karam, look how much faster as well. And bearing in mind both De Berti and Karam made mistakes there, that just goes to show how much that front race, where they were knocking into each other, losing too much time, Bucky.
Yeah, it must have been a little wet too. I think the dirt might have been a little wetter.
So maybe the track's getting drier. That could affect the supercar guys as well. Fraser McConnell, championship leader, down in 7th place. Fraz won't be happy with that. Gonna have to fight back from there. So
this was a great battle.
Yeah, it was good, wasn't it? Super close between them. Completely contrasting driving styles too. Over the jump. This was the pass around the outside. De Berti's super late on the brakes here, isn't he? You're thinking there's no way. And particularly at this point, I'm thinking De Berti's got it.
I don't think they touched either.
No,
it was
great.
beautiful.
Super close between them. Then Sage Karam made a mistake in the long right-hander. Got himself out in the dirty tarmac and dropped a bit of time. But still, they were quick enough. Now, their fastest laps were 37.5. Looking at the previous race, McConnell was a 38.7, Keats a 38.9, Alex Keys a 38.9, same for Martel. They were all on 38.9s. Those drivers are class, Bucky, and I'm thinking that if that was the best lap times they could do, then maybe you're right about track development.
I think so.
So I'm sitting here with your crew chief, and she said Rad just came over the radio and said, did we win that? Tell me about that.
Hey, honestly, it's been one of those mornings that it's just been absolutely nuts, but I got to give it to the whole Dirtfish crew. We went through 2 alternators, missed a whole set of practice, and really that was kind of my practice trying to learn it. But, you know, just it's more me, I think, than the car, getting used to everything. You know, it's like getting used to the weight transfer and how this track works. It's a very different track, but honestly, I'm just thankful again for Dirtfish, and my practice has been at home on my simulator, on my sim experience, and so, but I got to give it up to all my sponsor, BF Goodrich, Heatwave Visual, Cool It, Dirtfish, and Sim Experience.
Great, Brad. It's great to see this.
Thanks, brother. And don't forget about
Yeah, down here we can see my signature, which he's also done.
So there you go, Brad DeBerti sitting in the car that James Rimmer was previously driving. James had signed the chassis, and yeah, good banter between those two. Brad winning a session. I think that might be the first session Brad's won. I'll have to check the results after this session. But he's top of Q1 from Sage Karam. Cole, Keats, Keys, Martel, Ledbetter, McConnell and Leach. What's really interesting there is that second race, the novice race, the guys who haven't raced here before, 2 of them were faster than the guys who've been here twice before, I think. And that's an impressive performance from both DeBerti and Sage Karam. So great stuff from the ARX2 drivers. Do you think the track's getting quicker?
I want to say I saw Keats have a problem in a couple turns, and I think he kind of backed the rest of the pack up.
Okay, so maybe we'll have to see.
Maybe a little bit of track as well.
We'll have to see. So, yeah, track development is continuing, and the ARX supercars are coming up next. Going to be very interesting to see whether they are faster in the second race too. Supercars on the line, and we've got a couple of new but familiar faces if you're also a World RX viewer. On the inside, Jonny Wieman stood in twice this year for Niklas Gronholm in Supercar and did a brilliant job, got a podium, I think it was at Belgium. Andreas Bakkerud, of course, World RX winner up at Canada, where ARX competed last time out, and currently second in the World Rallycross Championship by 1 point. So these boys drafted in because, of course, Scott Speed not competing because of his back injury. Chris Atkinson third on the grid. Travis Picoy, the sole non-Subaru in this one. So what can Picoy do to upset the Subaru apple cart?
I'm pretty sure he can do a lot. I've seen his practice times. I've seen him like, he looks really fast through this mid-section of the dirt chicane.
Yeah, particularly through turn 1. He was pulling another gear in there where some of the guys were being quite careful. So here we go. Super long hole, but great start by all 3 Subarus. Picoy shuts the door immediately, trying to go all the way across. Bakkerud gets through the gap, goes on the brakes, but then changes his mind and goes out wide. Atco gets pushed deep. Bakkerud surely going to hold that inside line. So Andreas Bakkerud ahead. Picoy, I think
Picoy's a little too aggressive there.
Yeah, I think Picoy's going to get told off. For me, he closed the door in turn 1, Bucky, way earlier than he should have done. Moved across, and then he's fired into the back of Wieman at the hairpin. What do you think?
Yeah, he's a feisty fella right now.
Yeah,
I think he's got to turn it down a little bit, or else he's going to get penalized here, and it's going to hurt him for the rest of the day.
So Wieman and Bakkerud, that's some welcome, isn't it, to ARX there with Picoy coming straight across. And, of course, Travis Picoy would love to beat these guys because Picoy, to me, has been maybe the surprise of the season. Yeah, that first event, it took him a little bit of time to get on top of the car, and then when they said, look, you've got to attack this car a bit more, he's been brilliant since he's won a session at the last 2 events.
He's been very impressive. I mean, I would be so impressed with him if I was like his team captain, like Arpin or something. This young guy is coming here from RX2, and he is just whooping up on some of the field.
Yeah, doing a great job. Weeman's going with him. Baccarat, of course, has jokered. And he's 1.8 off the back. We're not quite sure in terms of what the Joker Delta is. Weeman with a big send on the Subaru. I was asking Yanni about what it's like. Does it feel like a big car? And he said, do you know what, it doesn't? And they were both talking about how it's got great traction. Weeman, said it was one of the best supercars he's ever driven.
Yeah, I asked him as well, and yeah, he was all smiles.
Yeah.
I think he'd be quite happy to find himself in that seat for the rest of the season. Well, he is going to find it for the rest of the season, but possibly next season would be amazing.
Both him and Baccarat would love a factory drive with Subaru, wouldn't they? It's great to see them in those classic Subaru overalls. 1 lap to go. Picoy and Weeman are going to have to joker. Where's that going to leave Andreas Baccarat? So Baccarat going to come out now and take the standard line. Picoy and Weeman go round the outside. Andreas Baccarat on the inside, going to try and keep the car tidy, but Picoy's fast. He's going to get him. Picoy on the inside, Baccarat shuts the door on Weeman. Can't quite find a way past Picoy. He gives him a little nudge. Baccarat lights the throttle up on the blue groove. Almost gets through, but not quite close enough. So Travis Picoy out in front. Baccarat gives him another little nudge. Great performance by Picoy, but also by Baccarat and Weeman in these cars, which are not familiar to them. Remember, they have had a test. But Travis Picoy is going to take the first race of the day. We've got nothing on our screens about contact, so Picoy takes the first flag. Baccarat almost got him at the line by running offline. Very clever tactics. Weeman gets third, and Chris Atkinson in fourth.
That was a really good drive by Picoy. It was a little aggressive.
Turn 2, was it, or turn
2, 3,
yeah.
4.
The first half of the first lap was punchy. Okay, contact between number 3 and number 31 under investigation. I personally think he's going to get a penalty. There you go, but we'll see. Picoy takes it, but he's under investigation. Baccarat second, Weeman third, Atkinson fourth, and I'm standing right opposite the stewards who are looking at us and laughing because I think they can hear what we're saying. Of course, they've got a job to do on their own. So let's take a look back at the replays. You can decide for yourselves at home. Let us know on social media. Do you think the move's on? Do you think Picoy's rad and just going for it, or do you think it's too much? Here we go, Bucky.
Here we go. Outside, he had a really good start. So he hit one Subaru, he hit another one, and he hit another. He hit them all.
He got them all.
He hit them all before turn 1.
But this is the move too. Look.
Yeah,
so
that was
for me,
too aggressive. That was way too aggressive.
I mean, it's kind of. I don't want to see people not go for the moves, but likewise, I think the problem there is that you've almost marked your card with the stuff on the run to turn 1. Like, if it was just that move, you might get away with it. But when you shut the door off the start, we don't really have a rule where you can't change lane too early. But likewise, you can't just close the door.
It's common sense, kind of. If you close the door too soon, you're going to run up on them. They were staged next to you. It has to be enough time.
They can't disappear.
Correct.
Yeah. So Picoy's under investigation, and we will see what happens with that. But I have to say, regardless of that, great drive by him, and good to see Baccarat and co as well on a bit of a mission.
Baccarat slid in there between the Subaru and the...
Yeah, he managed to get in just in front of Weeman, didn't he? Atkinson at the back of these. I think a lot comes down to the draw on the start here. I remember last year the Volkswagens got a great draw, didn't they? And that meant that all weekend they were starting on the inside. So we're going to head down to James Rimmer.
So I think that you're under investigation for some contact out there, but it still must feel good to come off the track first ahead of 3 factory Subarus.
Yeah, it's I started all the way outside. I got last pick, so I just got to make moves. You can't get to the front without making moves, especially on a tight track like that. So there was a little contact, and it definitely bent the car a little bit, but I don't think it's enough to penalize. But we'll see. But yeah, it was a battle on myself to try and take a bent car to the finish line, and thankfully there had to have been something that happened behind me, because I got. I kind of snuck away with that one.
Well, it's good to see you come off the track like that first, Travis. Good luck the rest of the day.
Well, it remains to be seen then, doesn't it, whether or not... 5-second penalty. So he's been given a 5-second penalty. It's just popped up on our timing screens. So Picoy is actually going to drop from P1 to P4. So I guess that's podium to nodium.
Well, that hurt him.
It did. Right, here we go. Race 2's on the line. Let's take a look at the lineup for this one. So the last remaining Subaru, Patrick Sandell on the inside. Next to him, Cabot Bigham, Steve Arpin and Tanner Faust. So both the Volkswagens in this one. Arpin will see that the car's got pace from that previous run, but he'll want to make sure he's a bit tidier on the run up to turn 1 and turn 2. Marshall's leaving the grid already. So Tanner Faust on the outside. Tanner's effectively the championship leader, remember. He was 5 points off the back of speed. He cut that deficit from 12 to 5 in Canada. I'm really sorry for Scott that he's not in the car, because I'd love to have seen that fight through to the end of the season between the ex-teammates. But Faust with the bad draw here needs a good start, and he gets a rocket. Wow. Tanner Faust with an amazing start. Goes standard lap. Absolutely brilliant tactics. Fantastic.
How do you do that? He just schooled everyone off the line. That is the weapon of the year start for me. That was incredible. But also Bucky, he'll have to have had his spotter, in my mind, tell him you're clear, shut the door. I don't think he needed a spotter. He was like a car length ahead of the pack before turn 1.
But he won't know that, will he? Like, to shut the door like that was just brilliant.
Look at him. He's 3 cars out in front right now.
So Tanner Faust is throwing down here big time, laying down his intentions. And look how close Sandell is to that wall. Fantastic.
Sandell is no slouch, let me tell you this.
No, and let's not be, you know, the guys who are regulars at Subaru are going to want to show that they can beat Baccarat and Wieman, you know, just because that's the way of the world.
I do believe that Sandell is probably the fastest.
Well, in Canada, he went faster than all the world guys in one session. Yeah, the spec is slightly different. We know the regulations. We're talking tiny things, though, yeah?
Right, and even in practice today, he was fast.
Huge, yeah. So Steve Arpin, Steve's car looks soft there. Do you see he was on and off the gas 3 times on turn-in? So Faust continues to lead from Sandell and Bigham. Steve Arpin is 2.9 off the lead, but of course has jokered. Now, I think, if I remember correctly, Pico had about 1.8, didn't he, from Baccarat, and that was just enough to hold him off. So it looks like it might only be 1.5, 1.8 for the Joker, but Arpin's dropping back at the minute.
Tanner's out by just over a second. Make that a second and a half.
35.5 he's done, and the best lap in the previous was a 35.6. Funnily enough, Atkinson did the best lap in the last race in P4. Of course, he's been put up to P3 now. They've all gone Joker on the last lap. Look on the inside. Where does Arpin come out? Gets on the throttle quite early. Going to try and shut the door on Bigham. Oh, nearly.
Almost in the back. Almost collected him.
Good driving by Cabot, though. Made the decision not to try and stick it up the inside, because that would only have ended in tears. So Tanner Faust is chasing the time of Andreas Baccarat, 2:31.999. Super wide and super aggressive. Faust is really going for it in this one. Through that last chicane, little dab on the brake. It's going to take the checkered flag. Will it be enough to win the session? Yes, will it? Yes, it will. 2:28.8, 3 seconds faster than Picoy had gone. 3 seconds faster than Baccarat. So in fact, Sandell with a 2:30.4, about 1.4 seconds faster than that first heat as well. Where does Arpin? In fact, everyone in this race has beaten the previous one. So, Bucky, are we looking at track development a little bit? But, I mean, you know, to be fair to these guys, it could just be outright pace. It's hard to tell at this point.
I think it could be pace, actually, more so than track. Because if you look, Tanner was fastest in practice, so there you go. Sandell was as fast. Arpin was right up there, and Cabot's right with Tanner. They're in the same car.
Yeah, fantastic. Fantastic performance by all 4 of these drivers. Faust, Sandell, Arpin, and Cabot Bigham in race 2. And take a look at this. Bang, straight to the top of the table. Picoy would have been in P5, but he got that 5-second penalty for contact with all the Subarus, we thought, on the run to turn 2. So Picoy ends up down in 8th place. It's Faust who wins Q1. Check this start out then, Bucky. Talk us through this.
This start is amazing. I know that Volkswagen has some good starts, but look at the traction and hookup that Faust get.
I mean, he kind of got lucky that Arpin had to kick the clutch twice, but he was still in front of guys who were 3 grid slots inside him. That's amazing.
Yeah, those guys have been working on that Volkswagen, and they don't have the support that they used to, and they're making it happen.
Great performance by Tanner Faust off the start and then through the whole race. Have to say, to me, he looked supremely comfortable in the beat. Like it did, you know, it won both the rounds that were here last year. Just pushing on and gapping the rest of the field. Steve Arpin, I think, with a better start, would have been a little bit clearer out in front. But all 4 of these guys faster than the drivers were in the first race. It's Faust who wins Q1.
Tanner, I think we just saw maybe the best start of the entire ARX season.
It felt great, I'm not gonna lie, it felt awesome. And, you know, I heard clear inside and I was like, okay, you know, you can't see, you don't have mirrors that'll tell you where the other guys are, so when the spotter says clear inside, you just turn and you go. And, you know, Sandell was there pushing pretty hard, but we were able to get enough room on him that could get some clean laps. Wow, I mean, this Beetle car just continues to impress because all these other cars are kind of continuing to develop and this thing still launches out of the hole. I mean, my head was like just stuck against the seat. I love it.
It was great to watch. Good luck the rest of the day, Tanner.
Well, here are the standings then at the end of Q1, and it's Tanner Faust who went fastest in the Volkswagen Beetle, Sandell for Subaru in third, and Steve Arpin in the Ford Fiesta in third. So we've got 3 different manufacturers across the top 3. Then it was Bigham, Baccarat, Weeman, Atkinson, and Pecoy. Okay, so I think interesting first session. Track development, maybe. I think certainly was the case during ARX 2.
Yeah.
ARX maybe not so much. I mean, we're literally over the start finish.
Yeah, you can see the blue groove. It's definitely getting better.
It's gone dusty and lighter too, hasn't it? You know, at the start of the session, it was kind of not mud. You know, when dirt's damp, it was damp dirt, and now.
Yeah, and this dirt is like silt too.
Yeah.
It's like powder. So when it gets wet, it doesn't pack. It just becomes mud.
So greasy on top and no traction.
Really greasy.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, yeah, great job basically by Tanner Faust to get such an incredible start. Well, let's take a look at the standings at the end of Q1. Tanner Faust taking the win from Patrick Sandell and Steve Arpin. So 3 manufacturers inside the top 3. Bigham is 4th, then Baccarat, Weeman, Atkinson, and Travis Pecoy at the bottom of the table thanks to that 5-second penalty. So that's it for Q1. Apologies there. We just had to have another quick go at the graphic after we had a slight upset there. We'll get everything sorted for you. Don't worry. So there's a few thunderstorms about, maybe causing us a few little electrical issues around here. We'll get it fixed in time for Q2, which I hope you guys will be with us for. The bottom of the screen, you'll be able to see what time we're going to be on local time, and I'll be able to check just exactly how long that's going to be. I think it's about a half an hour. So yeah, don't go anywhere. Basically, plenty more ARX action to come. We've got Q2, Q3, and then of course semi-finals for both of the classes coming up later today. There you go, 13:25. It's 13:02 now. You've got 20 minutes. Go and make a tea. See you in a bit.